And that's why I call her AR-15.
Christmas, I give you scrap the very next day, you boom, boom, brrr, boom.
The question is, how are these candidates going to protect the homeland? Donald Trump has already provided a really controversial answer. He has proposed that Muslims be temporarily banned from entering the United States. And then in a new CBS News poll taken after those remarks, 58% of all Americans oppose that idea. 36% only support it. But when you look at the Republican response, you have 54% who favor it, 38% oppose it. Do you think, Pastor, this is something you can support, this ban of Donald Trump's, as you support him as a candidate?
Well, I've stated on numerous occasions that the word ban is a rather strong word. I prefer the use of the word moratorium. And I really believe a temporary moratorium is not unreasonable as our vetting process is improved. The vetting process has to be revised, it has to be upgraded, it has to be improved in order to prevent leakage or prevent anyone from slipping through the cracks, because, as I've stated, American lives cannot be considered collateral damage. ISIS poses a threat to American lives, and in order to prevent this threat from actualizing, then something has to be done. Everyone is in agreement that something has to be done, and for the most part, Donald Trump has the best plan. We have to put a moratorium on immigration. Excuse me?
You just want to call it a moratorium, but you support the policy.
I support a moratorium on immigration. I mean, it can be a very short period of time. It can be a long period of time, depending upon what our strategists decide is the best course of action. But as we've seen from the San Bernardino shooters, there have been those that have slipped through the cracks, that if the vetting process had been better, amen, they would not have been able to slip through those cracks, and 14 Americans would still be alive, 22 other Americans would not be wounded, and this fear that pervades our American society would not be as prevalent as it is. America is scared right now because what happened in San Bernardino can happen down the street from any of us.
It could also happen in Charleston, South Carolina, Pastor, in a church with a Christian shooter named Dylan Roof. Would you suggest a temporary moratorium of white supremacists like the candidate you're supporting, Donald Trump?
If white supremacists threatened American society and they were immigrating from another country, yes. I'm not talking about a ban or a moratorium on American citizens. I'm talking about a ban or a moratorium on immigration.
But you said American lives, so I figured you'd want to support equally all American lives.
But American lives are always at risk in American society. That's the job of the police to take care of that. We're talking about a foreign threat.
All right,
There's a big difference between someone that's in this country as an American citizen and somebody who's coming into this country as an immigrant. And I think this is where Donald Trump does connect with people. The system we have now, there are loopholes and things that are not working well. So a moratorium is something I think most Americans will support. But when you say an all-out ban on all Muslims...
Did you just hear the stats?
No. There's a difference. If you ask people if they want to ban all Muslims, the polls are clear. The majority of Americans don't want to ban all Muslims. If you said you want to have a moratorium on immigration in this country until we figure out these loopholes from terrorist nations where we know terrorism is, that's where I think you have a lot of Americans that would agree with what Donald Trump was saying in general. But when you try to ban a religion, that is what got Donald Trump in trouble. You cannot do that, and that's why he's been taking so many hits over the last couple of days.
But Ben, you cloaking it, sorry, Brianna, you cloaking it in certain other words does not make it any less of a bigoted remark. It doesn't make it any less problematic. It is our responsibility as people who are informed in this nation's capital.
I've said multiple times, I do not support, and I've taken heat from Donald Trump supporters for this. I said it here the day this happened on CNN. I do not support a ban on a religion. That is unconstitutional.
Okay, so I do want to get one last, but you support a moratorium on immigration from areas where there could be threats. I understand what you're saying there, Ben, and there obviously are very semantic differences, and I understand certainly your objection to that, Angela. I do want to ask you about this sort of Cruz, I should say, Trump moment that we've seen here. Maybe this bromance between them has hit a bump in the road, I guess you could say. The New York Times leaked audio of Cruz slamming Trump and also Ben Carson at a private fundraiser. Let's listen to this.
Both of them, I like and respect both Donald and Ben. I do not believe either one of them is going to be our nominee. Their campaigns have a natural arc. Who am I comfortable having their finger on the button? I think Look, people run us who they are. I believe that gravity will bring both of those campaigns down.
Okay, but then a short time ago, Cruz tweeted this. The establishment's only hope, Trump and me in a cage match. Sorry to disappoint. Donald Trump is terrific. Hashtag deal with it. Ben, what is up with that? I mean, first off, you sort of have to know that even if you say something in a private fundraiser, right? I mean, this nearly possibly did sink the Romney campaign. It's sort of all fair game, right? But is Cruz trying to clean this up after being caught here?
I don't think he's trying to clean it up. I think he's, in private, he's being a little bit more blunt than maybe in public, because you don't want to get into a trash-talking match with Donald Trump. He is the master of trash-talking. You don't want to go out there toe-to-toe with him. So I think what he's saying is, look, I got a very good ground game, and let's be honest, there is a ceiling to Donald Trump, and he has maximized that ceiling in the eyes of many voters, Republican voters. Can he bring new people in? And I think what you're seeing from Cruz is he's saying, I have a much higher ceiling than either of these two candidates. Being the anti-establishment guy will only take you so far. But if I'm Cruz right now, I'll play nice in public, because I do not want to go to war with Donald Trump in trash talking, because you're going to lose that battle. You just are.
Yeah, and we do see that. Guys, thank you so much for this very spirited conversation. I certainly appreciate you all being here. Ben, Angela, Pastor Daryl, thanks so much.
Christmas.